Tonight on Podcast Them Down, Judas Priest's Stained Class.
Cast them down!
Hail Metal Nation, it is I, Tim, that's Doug, and that's Matt, and today we are continuing our review of Judas Priest's entire discography, which at this rate is going to take 3 or 4 years. I mean, when we decide to go through the entirety of something, we plan to, and you are on this journey with us. But let's face it, we're not done with season 1 of Star Trek: The Next Generation yet, or Star Trek: The original one. We're years away from The Next Generation.
Tim, I don't want to dispute you right out the gate, but I'm pretty sure we just reviewed the most recent Judas Priest album, which means we're done.
Not as part of the discography review. I don't know what you're talking about.
Wait. So are we going to have to re-review that one as the... Okay.
Within the context
2026, we'll have to, and then it'll be retrospective at that point.
Okay.
Exactly.
Perfect.
No, we did.
Awesome. Okay.
We did an album review of Invincible Shield, not a discography review of Invincible Shield within the context of Judas Priest's discography.
So that episode was about the album, but not the album in the context of Judas Priest's discography?
Correct.
Yeah, sure.
Exactly nailed it.
Okay, all right. Okay, good.
Well, hey, speaking of which, we have some open-ended things that we need to close. Stained Class is the 4th album by Judas Priest. We already did the episode for the 3rd album, but we did not give it a rating from 1 to 10.
Oh, we didn't?
No. And I realized this immediately after we finished recording the episode. So, Sin After Sin. What's your rating? Let's get that done, and then we can move on to Stained Class.
Sin After Sin.
Did you already forget everything about Sin After Sin?
No, it has the best... It has the best ever Judas Priest song on it, Last Rose of Summer.
God damn it.
I will never forget Sin After Sin. Out of 10, right? I'm going to give it a 7.5.
I'm giving it a 5.
I'm giving it an 8.
Okay, 7.5, 5, and 8. So that's a 7, right?
That's a 7.
All right,
so that seems reasonable. Yeah. Starbreaker, there's a lot of good songs on there.
Here Comes the Tears.
Yeah,
I'm glad they stopped clapping.
Not me.
Yeah, so it's on par with Sad Winds of Destiny. All right, now we can. I'm gonna do what I always do and turn on the album while we talk about it. So, okay, Stained Class. Came out 1978.
Mm-hmm.
It appears. So I've been wanting to. We've been trying to do this episode for a while, and I think I remember our format. So we start with background. So between Sin After Sin and Stained Class, it appears not too much happened, because I think at this stage in their career they're just doing the grinding. Tour, write, record, tour, write, record, tour, write, record, tour. That's where they are right now. So they did the Sin After Sin tour in 1977, which was 27 shows in the UK and 18 shows in the US. The closest one to where we are in Maryland was July 12th at the Roxy Theater in Northampton, Pennsylvania, which is near Allentown. The Stained Class was the first album. They got a songwriting credit from Ian Hill, so they're 4 albums in, and their founding member finally contributed to the songwriting in Invader, and it got a songwriting credit from the drummer Les Binks in Beyond the Realms of Death. And they got the same artist. How do you pronounce L with a slash? I will never figure that out.
Oh, that's like a Polish letter.
Yeah, it's Rozla Szaybo.
I think it's a W sound.
Roswell Szaybo's cover artwork introduced the now classic Judas Priest logo replacing the Gothic script logo, which appeared on all of the band's previous albums. So it's that logo there for the watchers.
Yeah, again, classic metal cover, and this guy was just a house artist for Columbia, and he 2 kick-ass covers and the logo. And there's a visual theme in maybe 30 to 40% of Priest records where you get a visual line going across the screen.
Dude, I never
Usually
noticed
this
that.
orientation, sometimes the other, but we're going to see it again and again about every other album, including Firepower.
That's awesome. You're right. And Screaming for Vengeance has it.
Defenders.
Oh my God.
Priest Alive. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you just blew my fucking mind. All right. Stained Class was released February 10th, 1978. It was recorded October through November 1977 at Chipping Norton Studios in Oxfordshire and Utopia Studios in London. It runs 43 minutes, 40 seconds. Their label, as you said, was Columbia. Produced by Dennis McKay, Judas Priest. So, remember last album, they're like, we can produce it. Oh wait, no we can't. Oh wait, yes we can. So they're trying to produce their own albums. And then James Guthrie. So Dennis McKay was brought in by CBS Records, but at the time he had mostly done jazz fusion artists and progressive rock artists like David Bowie and Supertramp. Meanwhile, James Guthrie worked with Pink Floyd on The Wall and a bunch of other Pink Floyd stuff, as well as Queensryche. So they got like odd choices for producers.
They do.
Okay.
They do. Yep.
Track
And
list.
just to clear up a mystery, I think, Tim, you had this gripe last episode about why it's CBS/Columbia when CBS is Columbia Broadcasting System. They use it's a trademark thing. Either in the US or the UK, they had to use one of those terms, and the rest of the world they use the other. I think it's Columbia in the whole world, and then CBS in the UK because there's some Columbia Gramophone Company.
Interesting.
Whatever.
Interesting. Yeah, that's it wasn't a gripe. But
I remember it as a gripe.
maybe it
The
was a
audience
gripe.
can make their own call.
Okay. Track list. You want to go through it song by song?
Yeah, that's how we do it on the
In that
old.
case, we should stand and fight for Exciter, the opening track, written by Halford and Tipton. This is Judas Priest has already gotten into they know how to open an album.
They do.
They did it with the last one.
very well.
They're doing it with this one. I wrote that it's a proto painkiller.
Yeah, totally.
It's basically the 70s version of my favorite song, Painkiller. So it starts with drums, and then it gets heavy, and then there's some solos. I love how they modulate into the chorus. They do a key change when they go into the chorus, but they still got that 70s production where it's not quite heavy metal guitar tone yet. But I think they can be forgiven because they are literally defining heavy metal at the time, But the guitars just need more gain, more presence, more treble.
It's funny that you mentioned this. I didn't notice it so much with Exciter, but I noticed it with the later tracks. Now, maybe it's because I have a father of a certain age. Tim has a father of a similar age. But I always remember in the car, my father would max out the treble, in the old car stereos, treble as high as possible. And as I was listening to this album, I'm like, I get it. I understand.
They're pre-compensating.
Yeah,
It's like the RIAA curve, but for car stereos.
exactly.
Well, I did have the thought that maybe it fills up a room better if you listen to this on vinyl. Because I did not listen to this. Most of the other albums I've been listening to on the stereo, but this one I listened to exclusively on headphones. Mm-hmm. Maybe through on vinyl on a hi-fi, it's going to work better.
I would bet it's late 70s speaker technology, and I just think those are the ranges that respond the best, and that's just how you mix it to sound good out of a Macintosh amp, and those like speakers that look like they're made out of wicker.
Hey, they don't make amps like that anymore. That thing was heavy because it had like 8 transformers in it.
I'll say the production and the audio is flatter than Sin After Sin. Like and that was very 70s sounding too, but this is a little bit of a step backward.
Yeah, those producers are used to bands with like lots of dynamics, but the dynamic of Judas Priest in this case needs to be loud, Okay, so that's Exciter. Fantastic track, classic Priest, still 70s-ish, not quite in the 80s attitude. Next track is White Heat, Red Hot. And I got, this is very 70s. It's still bluesy. It's the, you're moving your head perfectly in sync with me listening to the song. Yeah, it's got the 70s Priest vibe and the bluesy riffs.
But it's kind of it does have like a very heavy pulse, like it keeps moving. It doesn't feel like it's lagging at any point. It keeps up its energy. Except for that part when it slows down.
Well, that's halftime.
Yeah, the lyrics, like so far as arty kind of proggy Priest goes, this is definitely the peak. And so you get traveling through space, a sort of religious, I mean, honestly, this sounds like new Priest too, but yeah, the Exciter, which seems to be about, well, a creature called Exciter that's on more of a 2001 journey than the Painkiller. And I haven't figured out White Hot yet. Whatever it is red hot. We know that.
Right. Okay, that's true. The White Heat is red hot.
All right, next track is Better By You, Better Than Me, which is a Spooky Tooth cover.
It's interesting because when I listened to this song, I was with a friend, and we got to a really dark place. And so I'm glad that I turned it off just in time.
Jesus. Yeah, so this is another bluesy feel. They got a lot of the where they stop and then say the song title and then come back in.
It's interesting as
fine.
A cover.
In these days, there's pretty much a cover at every record, and it's probably less thought put into what you cover back then when all of this stuff was new. I think they played this song. We'll reserve discussion of the lawsuit for a future record.
Episode.
But then this song is integral to the Judas Priest story, ironically.
Yeah, I will. We'll address it, but we won't discuss it in this episode. I love the outro on this song. Mostly because of Halford's performance. Okay, next song is.
I like before we continue, I do like the. That part's really cool. I enjoy that.
Next song is the title track, Stained Class. Now, this song, it's weird, because did Halford have an off day when they recorded this? Because his vocals sound weak. He's hitting those high notes, but they're not. And we know he can hit those notes, but they're sounding weak in this song.
Mm-hmm. We don't know when these were recorded, right? So
October and November of 1977.
But I mean, we don't know the
probably like right after the tour.
But we don't know the individual sequence, right? Like it could be that this was the last of the session, or this could have been early on before he was really getting there. But I agree, it's a little rougher than some of these other tracks. Hicks, yeah.
I mean, it's a classic, end-to-end full spectrum Priest song. You got some time changes, mid-tempo, up-tempo. You've got a fantasy lyrics.
Heavy use of the splash cymbal.
Yes. And there's some guitar effects I can't describe that are fantastic in some of the solos.
Towards the end, I know they use the delay when it goes dun 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 dun.
Yeah, bum, they do that as well. Yeah.
You said doo doo.
Doo-doos.
The solo sounds like a phaser or a flanger or a chorus. One of those phasey ones. But it needs more gain, in my opinion. But it was the 70s. I'll give them a pass.
Yeah.
All right. I believe that's the end of side A, if I remember correctly.
I think you're right. I think side B starts with...
No.
You're
Invader
wrong.
is the...
Yeah, fuck you. You're
track.
wrong.
Yeah, I'm wrong. That's why you shouldn't just agree with me.
No. But I also misremembered that.
This one starts with... This is Invader. Predates Iron Maiden's Invaders.
Is this the first song to do that bullshit, like every 9 Inch Nail records before it actually starts? Is this the beginning of this trope?
Yeah, and Tim, is that guitar or is that a tape deck?
I don't know.
But it's annoying. It almost ruins the song.
It's weird. I said it's a cheesy sound effects from the 50s. Like some space movie.
It's just someone made some noise in the studio and they're like, that's great.
Oh, that's so cool. Let's put that at the beginning of the track.
The chorus goes, Invader nearby. That's not as threatening as they think it sounds, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Don't worry, he's only nearby. He's coming, but
still a bit off.
Yeah, we got some time. But it's just another classic Priest song. It's mid-tempo. It's like it's the formula.
The other problem I have with the song, it's like Invader is sung very hopefully, like it, just the way it moves up. It's like that Mitch Hedberg, like, here comes that frog.
I've never said here comes that frog in a horrified manner.
Yeah. But like they're saying it like here comes that frog, like Invader nearby.
I guess it's kind of War of the Worlds inspired.
I guess so.
I don't remember, but the lyrics definitely would imply invasion from the sky.
Yeah. I wonder what Ian Hill did. So he had the songwriting contribution on this, along with Halford and Tipton.
Maybe he made that sound. He's like, hold on. Look at this thing.
Okay. Side B, or 2. A starts with Saints in Hell.
Good song.
Stone Cold classic song.
Yep.
Yeah, this one This might be one of their last Sabbathy ones. We'll see what the next album has in store, but I got a Sabbathy vibe from this.
Yeah.
I can see that, or hear that, or see that.
And this also has the relatively weak Halford high notes in this one.
Yeah, and they never played this live in the 70s, and it's been in most of their sets, I think, since 2018, 2019. So they definitely dropped some octaves.
Yeah, it just doesn't really have a lot of...
I'm picturing Halford as a baritone. All right.
And back for Invader.
I'd say the lyrics are probably more metal than was typical in 78.
Mm-hmm. Well, definitely like the screamy part, like kind of the screamy chorus is I think transitioning there.
Cover your fists, razor your spears. It's been in our possession for 8,000 years. Fetch the scream eagles, unleash the wildcats, set loose the king cobra.
That's like half of the people in the NCAAs.
Yeah. The streets run with blood from the mass mutilation.
KK Downing, this is the only song he contributed to on the record. On this record. So.
I bet he
sure
did
it's the only song he plays live, right?
I bet he did that one guitar effect where it's like ducka 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 ducka. I think that's him.
Maybe he
that's
did.
what he added.
All right. Next song.
Chums, I have no idea. Ducka 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 ducka.
Next song is Savage. Mm-hmm. And this song starts off with some fantastic screams, just in case you were worried about Rob Halford.
Maybe these are the screams that he blew out his vocal cords on.
I mean, that could be. And
there are some pretty epic screams.
I hate to just say the same thing again, but I'm going to say the same thing again. Classic Priest, mid-tempo, follows the formula.
Yep.
Yeah, and this is their Run to the Hills, their song about colonization. And the lyrics are really good. It's a great song, probably under-remembered.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. There's also something about the pulse in this song that just makes it perfect for headbanging.
But like a relaxed proto headbang.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to hurt your neck. So it's friendly for the whole family.
All right. And then Beyond the Realms of Death.
Okay. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say fairly decent song. Now, I know there might be some pushback on this, but this song, I think, quite good.
I'm surprised this song's only 7 minutes long, because when it comes in, you go, oh shit, this is the epic. Mm-hmm. I love the acoustic guitars in the intro. I think one of them is a 12-string, or at least it's playing the other part an octave up. Yeah, it's just, this is the epic of the album. Yeah, even though it's not the last track.
This is, this is what some people think Victim of Change is. Like, just stone cold classic end to end. All the musical dynamism you could ever want. Great lyrics by Halford. They did a much dumber version of this song that we'll talk about in late 2025 called Brain Dead on Jugulator.
I got jugulated.
Yeah. I have a WNBC story that I'll save for that year.
Ooh. I was telling someone some stories from the college radio station Doug and I worked at. I wonder what's going to happen when they demolish that building and find all the CDs I jammed in the hole in the wall. One day.
It'll probably be like a great time capsule. People will probably be very thankful for what you did.
It's like, oh, they must have treasured all this music. No, that's where I put all the worst songs in the wall.
Preserved for future generations.
Okay.
Nobody can accuse us of having been professional.
So, I guess Iron Maiden, because I know they're listening to this podcast, this is how you write an epic.
Yeah.
You don't repeat the same shit over and over and over again. And when you do repeat something, you change it the next time, you make it more interesting. That's what Judas Priest has done with Beyond the Realms of Death. It's fantastic. This is a case study in how to write a fantastic epic song, even though it's under 7 minutes. Because it was the 70s, and that's what, like, it was ridiculous to write a song this long back then.
I don't know what the song is about, but I'm sure as hell it's not about a goddamn blimp.
Well, I think it's about a person, a sort of, so to spoil my WNBC story, when I played Brain Dead and dedicated it to Terry Schiavo.
Oh, Jesus.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but that's what this song is about also.
Wow.
But in a smart way.
All right. So after Beyond the Realms of Death, the album closes with Hero's End.
Boo.
Phenomenal song.
I mean, it's a good song, but I wanted this album to close with Beyond the Realms of Death.
I think it would have been a better closing too.
I think this is a good song. I like this song. I don't like. I was like, hell yeah! Beyond the Realms of Death ends. I'm like, fuck yes! On to the bonus tracks. And then I'm like, oh, this is on the original album, huh? What? Why?
Was the convention of putting your epic song as the closer established at this point?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I guess not. But, I mean, is it just that they're so pedantic they have to end with the song that says end?
I have no issue with the placement, but it may be because I grew up having to remember that is where the album ends. And then when the drum machine kicks in on Fire Burns Below.
Yeah.
That's not part of the record, just to clarify.
Oh, I didn't even listen to that one.
We should point out that is not an AI generated drum. It is a drum machine. It's analog technology. So it's okay.
To the best of our knowledge.
Yeah.
So Hero's End, to me, it's a Sabbathy guitar riff again, but I don't get the whole Sabbathy vibe I got from the other Sabbathy Judas Priest songs. It's it's just that guitar riff kind of sounds Iommi-ish. Then it kind of ends with a solo and then some noise, and then it fades out and the album's over.
And yeah, and then I'm just like, oh, okay, that was weird. Why did that just end?
Well, I think so. I bought all my initial Priest records. I probably bought this when I was 18, and I want to say the horrible order I got into Judas Priest was probably like Demolition, British Steel, Stained Glass, and then Painkiller. And I always respected Stained Glass. Oh, and Sadwig's in there too. Probably those five. But I wasn't far enough in the journey to truly appreciate it. But it's a classic record, end to end, and certainly the high point of the 70s Artie Priest sound.
Yeah, it was so by the book, by the Judas Priest book, in my opinion, that listening to this for the first time, it's hard to appreciate, but they are writing the book.
Yeah, that's
they're doing this.
This is the first book. Like it's derivative, looking backwards.
Yes.
But
That's exactly, it's like
Yeah.
when you watch a movie that's supposed to be classic and you're like, why is this classic? It looks like everything. It's because everything looks like that.
I mean,
You
I don't
know?
want to become a film asshole, but it's like Citizen Kane isn't innovative when you watch it because literally it gave every movie its style from now into forever. It's like, wow, look at this. Lame.
Yeah. And it's the double kick drums, which we would generally call, except for all these traditional metal people, integral to heavy metal. Mm-hmm. The Judas Priest didn't invent that, but this record and Sin After Sin was probably the first big early examples of it. Mm-hmm. You got the speed on top of the Sabbath doom. You got the dark lyrics and kind of dark science fiction fantasy lyrics. And then, by next record, the look catches up too. So yeah, Sabbath invented metal, but Judas Priest is and always will be the quintessential heavy metal band. Mm-hmm. And this is when sonically it's coming together.
And I know we're going to get to do the entire Black Sabbath discography, but like there's some unlistenable stuff in there.
Yes.
In Black Sabbath.
Mm-hmm. I might be sick that week.
You mean that year?
Oh. Let's do
Okay,
that after we do the Hammerfall discography.
Actually, so programming note. Everyone likes when we pull the curtain back. I've had
hold on.
multiple specific episode ideas
Okay.
for Manowar things I want to address.
Okay.
However, I think they'd best be served if we do a discography review on Manowar.
Wait, didn't we do that? Isn't that how this all started?
No, we didn't. We did.
Oh, we did
March Manowar Madness.
Manowar Madness. Oh, fuck! You're right.
Yeah.
Wow.
and-
We should get that over
We
with.
should get that over with.
'Cause like I said, one of these days I'm just going to turn on the TV and see Joey DeMaio and like Steven Seagal and then Vladimir Putin in a row.
Yeah, you
Like-
probably will.
I think
Right.
that happened last week.
Russia is the most metal nation. Brr, brr, brr.
Wait. Does that mean we have to pay $60 each to listen to Lords of Steel?
I paid too much for that album. Yeah, that whole thing's going to culminate in listening to a terrible album.
So
It's gonna
everyone,
be-
please
pretty awful.
update your patronage so we
Right.
can afford the 3 copies of Lords of Steel that we'll need.
It'll be like Rogue One.
Okay, so just real quick on the Better By You, Better Than Me thing.
Uh-huh.
All right, so what happened? So that song, written in 1969 by Spooky Tooth.
Spooky Tooth.
Yeah. By a guy named Gary Wright. Do you know what else Gary Wright wrote?
Gary Wright. Gary Wright. What did Gary Wright wrote? What hath Wright wrought? I don't know.
He wrote Dreamweaver.
What?
Yeah.
Wait.
But I don't think it was with Spooky Tooth.
I don't want to get us content matched, but you mean like.
Yeah, the song from Wayne's World.
Wow.
And I feel like Spooky Tooth is more familiar than we realize. Not
Yeah,
enough to
maybe.
look that up, but yeah.
Yeah, but I had no
Fuck
idea.
is a spooky tooth? Oh no, it's
Well, they're probably British.
that doesn't help. Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah. So it was a last-minute addition to the album when CBS Records insisted on including something with commercial potential to liven up the album, an album that they felt had a very dark and sinister tone.
Well, I got great
Oh, my
news
goodness.
for you.
Yeah. So somehow they're like, here, the people will want to hear this song because
People
it's not as depressing as the rest of the album. I don't think that song is very happy anyway.
You know,
you know?
Tim. I think that's you're listening to the lyrics and the melody, but I think there's something like just below the surface of that song that kind of speaks to me.
Yeah.
You know.
All right, so the song was recorded with the producer James Guthrie separately from the rest of the album.
Well, yeah, because they needed to get those permissions from Spooky Tooth.
Because McKay, the Pink Floyd guy, moved on to other projects and he was no longer available. They were Judas Priest was so impressed with Guthrie's production that they asked him to do the next album, which we'll be talking about. So it was him doing that song that had them bring him back. So the next thing is about the lawsuit.
I mean, I can so in
Yes.
I think it was 85. 2 kids were drunk
In
and
Sparks,
depressed
Nevada.
on a not a merry-go-round. You know, one of those things you spin to go fast pointlessly. It was on one of those, and they were listening to Sad Wings of Destiny, Stained Glass, and decided to end it and passed around a shotgun, and one guy went and the other guy didn't completely. And yeah, he lived a few more years. The parents of that kid
Who died of a methadone overdose, by the way.
was probably courted by Christian lawyers. This is in Nevada, I think. Nevada?
Sparks, Nevada.
Nevada.
And, this demonic music brought the kid away from God, introduced these horrible ideas, and even these Yahoo lawyers knew you couldn't sue over content. You can't sue on the words. That's protected by free speech. So that's when the wacky backwards masking theory came into play. And do it is allegedly what you hear when you play Better by You, Better Than Me in reverse. So yeah, big lawsuit.
Even if that was in there, that could be anything.
Yeah, and I believe the science is there's no evidence ever. Subliminal messaging was a moral panic in the 50s, if I recall.
I would like to cite, I believe it is a Saved by the Bell episode in which Zach Morris used a Beau Revere tape to get all the dates to that dance where they had to wear hearts. So I think subliminal message is very real and proven by Saved by the Bell.
Fucking Zach Morris.
Unchallenged counterpoint accepted. Okay. Yeah, so the lawsuit happened. There's an outstanding documentary on all of this called Dream Deceivers. I highly recommend to anyone listening. Kind of the guy who made it, it's kind of a an NPR city liberal guy. He recognizes that the whole lawsuit's bullshit, but also that the interesting party here is the family in torment and not the out of touch band. So it's a very interesting perspective, and you can see Priest is interviewed. They come off okay for a bunch of rich guys, but there's a lot of man on the street interviews with the kind of people who would show up outside of a Reno, Nevada courthouse to support Judas Priest in 1990. And
I jump his bones.
And you get to see these elite LA, New York entertainment lawyers just tear up these flyover rubes and their stupid thought. And correct decision was reached. It's all sad and very powerful. and worth checking out.
Yep. So the suit was dismissed.
And it's interesting because I've been listening to this. I also listened to the Spooky Tooth version in preparation for today, and it actually sounds much eviler. It's slower. It's more psychedelic. And if I was going to say which one of these two were the evil version of this song, I would go with Spooky Tooth. like the da 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 is like it just sounds lascivious and sleazy. It's very interesting.
So many people, including Bill Hicks, point out that why would a successful band try to encourage their purchasing audience to commit suicide? Like, it doesn't make business sense. Anyway, so 3 weeks after the lawsuit wrapped up, they kicked off the Painkiller Tour, and they played Better By You, Better Than Me on their first concert, Burbank, California, September 13th, and then never played it again. That's it. All right, so on the subject of live performances, so Stay in Class has been played, songs from it have been played over 1,000 times. With do you want to hazard a guess as to which song has been played the most live?
I know. I'm going to recuse myself. I'm going to say Red Hot White Heat.
No, you just recused yourself. It is
I know.
Beyond the Realms of Death.
Yeah, fuck yeah, it is.
By a factor of like 7.
If anything, underplayed.
Yeah.
I forgot what album we were talking about. That's why I said a Painkiller song.
I thought you were saying a Manowar song. All right. So then Exciter is next. And then decreasing order, White Heat, Red Hot, Saints and Hill, Invader, Savage. And then the least played out of the songs that have been played, Stained Class, they've only played 3 times.
But what lucky fans those 3 audiences were.
I'm assuming that was back in 78.
Yeah, it's got to be. So, all right. So,
don't forget we have to score it.
Yes, that's what I was just going to wrap up with. We need to give this album its score, and then we can move on to the next album or albums, depending on how you want to look at it. The answer is album. It's 1 album. It's not 2 albums. But we'll address that next time. All right, so Stained Class. Who wants to throw out a number so we can argue?
9.
Oh, horrible number.
Wow. 9. Let's see. I gave a 9. I'll give it an 8. I'll give it a solid 8.
And I'll give it a 7, which makes it an 8.
Nice. Excellent.
8, 9, and 7. Easy to average. All right, well,
Fine. Acceptable.
we can argue more. I mean, right now it's the king of the mountain for Judas Priest albums.
I
And
think
things
that's
are
right.
trending upward. I would like to add.
Yeah, I think it's fair to take some, at least a point off for the production. Haven't quite finished inventing heavy metal yet, but for what existed in 78, this album sure delivers.
Yeah, they're almost there. They're almost there. I'm worried about when we hit the peak. And then the valley. All right. So until next time, Metal Nation, keep your satanic messages forwards in your records like other bands do. What? Aren't people saying that? Some pop artist, you know, like Taylor Swift, is like, they're putting satanic messages backwards. It's like they're literally putting satanic messages forwards in other albums, and no one's complaining. Yeah, anyway.
It's like, right?
Yeah, get out of here with that nonsense. All right, that's all I got. Hail Metal Nation!